Hey, what's going on? This is SportsVibes TV. I'm your host, Quis, and right now there's a lot of noise circulating around Damian Lillard and where he could be playing next season. There was an article that was dropped by Chris Haynes. What I'll do is I'll put it up on screen so you can look at it. And I'm not going to read the article. I'll put it down in the description if you wanted to read it and get a little bit more in depth with the article. But basically, Damian Lillard is upset with the Portland Trailblazers front office for not going out there and getting enough pieces to build a championship contender around him. And what a lot of people are saying is this is Damian Lillard's passive aggressive way to kind of lay the foundation or the groundwork to an actual trade request. And of course, people hear this, the Knicks flush with cap space, an abundance of draft picks. Of course, our name gets thrown in the mix. And I mean, Damian Lillard is a phenomenal player. He's averaging 28.3 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, and he's averaging 4.2 rebounds per game. He's doing great this season. He's been trying to carry an injury-riddled Portland Trailblazers team into the playoffs. And I mean, I can't doubt his talent. I just don't think the Knicks should go out there and give up what it'll cost to try and acquire him. If he was a free agent and all it cost was cap space, then I'd be able to consider it a little bit more. Not to say that he wouldn't be worthy of being brought in and being signed. I just look at the contract and I'm like, man, those last few years, I don't know what I'm getting. And, you know, I don't know what I'm getting. But if you look at the price tag, that price tag is crazy. He's making almost 50 mil in the last year of the deal. So if I'm going to be a little hesitant to sign him when all it's going to cost is cash, imagine if now I'm going to have to include multiple first rounders and multiple young talented players. And I just don't think that's something we should do. I'm not an advocate of trading for players that are on their second max deal. Once you get to that second max deal, the numbers just start getting bonkers. And I don't think if we traded for Lillard, I mean, because think about it, these trades don't happen in a vacuum. Yes, we have 60 million in cap space, but if we trade Lillard, we're not going to be filled in the same team this year. So you can't look at what we're doing this year and say, oh, if we added Lillard, this team could potentially, you know, make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or for somehow, some way, make it to the finals. It's not going to work like that because we're going to have to give up some of these pieces of our core. And then when we bring in Lillard and take in that enormous contract, we're not going to then have the cap space to bring in some of the supporting cast we had this year to even try to get it to as close as possible to what we threw out there, you know, for 2020, 2021. So I just don't think Lillard would be the right move. You know, he plays the right position. He has the right skill set. I just think he's at the end of his championship window. His championship window is closing. And I think where the Knicks are, we're an ascending team. I don't think we should be targeting players where their championship window's closing. I don't think Damian Lillard is going to be the same type of player that we see him now when Julius Randle and RJ Barrett are at their peak. And I don't want Damian Lillard, while he's regressing, to have that cap figure stunt us from building around RJ and Randle. You know what I mean? Because Randle still young, RJ Barrett extremely young. He's just not on the same timetable. If we're gonna go out there and trade all these picks that it might take and some young pieces, I'd rather go after a young player that's on a similar timeline as us, whether that be maybe a De'Aaron Fox if he's ever available, Shai Gilgeous if for some reason he's ever available, one of those guys, not a Damian Lillard. And once again, it's not because I don't think Damian Lillard is a good player. I just think The price for admission is just not going to be worth it in the long run. Like, I've been looking online at some of these mock drafts. I mean, not mock drafts. Too much football. I've been looking online at some of these mock trades, and they're giving up 3 first-round picks in some of them, along with Mitch, Emmanuel quickly. I'm like, that's way too much. I saw another one. They're giving up 2 firsts, RJ, Obi, Quick, Knox. I'm like, so what team are we going to field? After this, because we can't put anybody else on the court. At that point, we might have $20 million in cap space. How many players are we going to be able to come over on the league minimum? I just don't think it would work for us, but it's not necessarily always about what I think. I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, I would just ask you to consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I drop new content. And also make sure you like this video. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Once again, I'm Quis. This is Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.